Hello guys, welcome back. This is RandoGEEK. Alright guys, so we have an article coming from Fierce Wireless. The link will be down below in the description for you guys. But it looks like we have some good news here regarding AT&T. So according to the headline here coming from Fierce Wireless's article, they're saying that AT&T has reported 468,000 postpaid phone net adds in Q3 of 2023. So this is great news for AT&T, it looks like. Let's dive a little deeper into the article and find out exactly what's going on. So, all eyes apparently were on AT&T's free cash flow number during its Q3 earnings call. So they're saying as the relatively low free cash flow reported during the company's first couple of quarters had caused some investor concerns. We're well aware of that. A lot of investors were dumping, basically criticizing AT&T. We know that their stock was plummeting and we were seeing the lowest results for them in years. And when I say years, I mean more than 25 years. So things were not looking too good. Since then, we've seen a turnaround, and this article here is basically confirming that. So they're saying happily for AT&T, it reported free cash flow of $5.2 billion for the third quarter, up $1.3 billion year over year. And year-to-date free cash flow is up $2.4 billion versus the same period a year ago. The company now expects full year free cash flow of about $16.5 billion, they're saying, versus prior guidance of $16 billion or better. So the company's stock price is at $15.47, which is currently up about 8.02% as of the writing of this article. AT&T has also reported 468,000 postpaid phone net adds in the quarter, and the mobility service revenues of $15.9 billion were up 3.7%, they're saying, year over year. So postpaid phone average revenue per user, which is the RPU, they're saying was at $55.99, which is up 0.6% versus the year ago quarter. And postpaid phone churn improved to 0.79% versus what was 0.84% in the year ago quarter. So according to Pascal Desroches, who is AT&T CFO, he says year-to-date wireless service revenues have grown 4.6%. He says the primary drivers on RPU are higher RPUs on legacy plans, which continued mix shift to higher value rate plans with higher margins and continued improvement in consumer international roaming trends, he says. So AT&T's emergency responder network, which is their first net reported connections, reached about 5.3 million across nearly 27,000 agencies, they're saying. They're also saying that AT&T has completed a $6 billion cost-cutting strategy, which we've heard a lot about for the past 3 years. And today they're saying it would cut $2 billion more in costs over the next 3 years. So in terms of notable news during the quarter, AT&T launched its AT&T Internet Air, which is their fixed wireless access residential service, back in August. And they're saying that it expects the FWA service to be in 30 plus locations by the end of the year. So AT&T is definitely depending on this, putting a lot of reliability in this new Internet Air. All right. And they're also saying that AT&T CEO John Stankey gave some credit to AT&T Internet Air, they're saying, for helping the company return to positive broadband growth. They're saying as it continues to sunset its old copper plant and simultaneously roll out new fiber. They're also saying that AT&T Internet Air has already added about 25,000 subscribers since its launch. So I guess that's not bad. It hasn't been very long. So in other wireless related news from today's call, they're saying that John Stankey says that AT&T has expanded their network nationwide with 5G, and that they're on track to reach 200 million people or more with mid-band 5G spectrum by the end of the year. So when asked about the competitive landscape, John Stankey said, despite what's being reported by MVNOs or cable, he says our base is incredibly stable. If we're growing RPUs and if we're growing accretive customers and if our churn is stable, I think I'm okay with what's going on, he says. So in terms of the cheaper pricing for wireless service from the cable MVNOs, he says, I don't think it's a sustainable strategy. He says their job is to play for the long haul. All right. So they're also saying, I'm going to skip over some of this here. You guys can read that on your own if you want. But he's also contributing a lot of credit towards the iPhone 15 rollout. They're saying that the pre-order for that was probably the best they've seen in a long time. So they're contributing a lot of customers and a lot of recent growth due to the iPhone 15. Now, we know that AT&T was considered to have the best iPhone device deal. Okay, out of all the carriers, they were offering the best trade-ins. They were offering the most competitive pricing. So looks like customers all went with it, and jumped on that wagon. So they're also saying New Street Research analyst Jonathan Chaplin wrote today that AT&T's churn was very low. If this is a theme for the industry, they're saying, perhaps driven by delayed switching due to the late launch of the iPhone, it will be harder for T-Mobile to shake share, ditto for cable. They're also saying that they should see switching picking up in Q4 earnings, which will make for faster share gains from the challengers. So finally, AT&T says its CAPEX spend for 2023 would be similar to 2022, which implies that it would be spending about $6 billion for the fourth quarter of 2023. So that seems high, they're saying, given where they are in the 5G process. But when asked, management was adamant, wrote Chaplin. So they're saying this would be $1.3 billion more than the same quarter last year. So obviously, you got to spend a little money to make a little money. But AT&T's plan has pretty much been trying to tighten the belt in certain areas. We know that fiber has been a massive focus for them. And now they have the fixed wireless access, which is another thing. Moving into internet service is been a big thing for what all these carriers are doing now, simply because it's where the money is. It's a smart move. Okay. And then you can get people hooked into your internet access, and then you get them on a wireless plan, and then you bundle it up. And it's a smart strategy. It's basically the way cable used to do things. Hook somebody in for cable, get them on the internet, vice versa. And it worked for a long time. And as long as pricing stays competitive, you can get away with it. So that's AT&T's plan. Very good news, though, to see that the churn rate, if indeed true, is going down. I think a lot of customers, probably really did take advantage of the iPhone 15 deals. Everyone was looking for a deal. So, whether or not they're going to stay, once that deal is up, they may run away. We might see an increase in churn again. Or maybe it's that people are starting to recognize that AT&T is one of the old OGs of wireless networks. It's a very reliable network. It's not the cheapest network, but quite frankly, T-Mobile is not much cheaper. In some ways, T-Mobile is actually more money. And, you may not be completely satisfied with the service. And the same thing goes for Verizon. Verizon's not cheap either. And maybe AT&T has just been working better for certain people. Either way you have it, guys, AT&T is definitely stepping up. We're seeing a lot more positives with the network over the last couple of months. Things were not looking good for them. Things are starting to reverse. We're starting to see a clearer picture of AT&T, of who they used to be, turning things around, getting back into the game, offering competitive pricing on devices, advertising more, even doing more deployments. We're starting to see more of that. And basically, we're starting to see that when networks are compared, AT&T still has a strong game, okay, in this. All right. They still have a big footprint in the wireless industry. And I'm glad to see that, because it was looking like they were kind of bowing out, and we were almost told that they were going to bow out. So to see that that's changed, that they're not really into that now, that they want to stay in and they want to focus, that they're going to try to use the money that they're using, that they're gaining from their home internet and their fiber, and try to dump it back into the 5G game. That excites me. I think there's a great network there, as with Verizon, as with T-Mobile too. They all got their kinks to work out, but we're starting to see that. We're starting to see a shift in how wireless is starting to kind of reprogram itself. These companies are starting to reprogram themselves. They're starting to get back to business, giving the customers what they want, working on a network, deploying, building up better plans, or at least trying. Now, we're seeing some shady stuff here and there. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's all about business. But, I think AT&T is definitely trying to advance. So, good news, guys. More updates regarding any of AT&T's news, guaranteed, we'll report it for you guys. All right, as always, thanks so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye for now.